also as excited as usual to be on the program because, especially when we talk about Africa, you cannot talk anything less without talking about Nigeria because Nigeria is really going through a very, very, difficult time, especially as the election is getting closer and there's quite a lot of things happening. And it is important that the international community and the rest of the African countries can catch up with some of those news coming out of Nigeria. So I'm doing very well, and we have it ready to go again this morning. Everything that happened in Abuja with NNAMDI KANU, we'll be discussing that this morning, and everything that is happening with the other news, especially when it comes to so much magnitude of corruption that continue to put the lives of Nigerians in abject poverty, especially when those individuals have died. You wonder what they were thinking when they were stealing such magnitude amount of money from Nigerians.
Interesting. When it comes to Africa, my goodness, there's no accountability. We want us to now continue with what we call it our democracy. But that democracy, I don't know whether it's democracy. But we'll be talking about that. But let me go back to Yomi, whilst the technical team to continue to work on the visual from our side here. Now, Yomi, just a quick one. Okay, China says, Mr. Koiki, good job, no going back. Okay, yes, that's the China statement there. But Yomi, just a quick summary for those who did not listen to the Niger or what the Niger bosses yesterday. How was the whole program like?
Well, yesterday was just the continuation of where we started last week, and we haven't completed it because I think I have about almost 60 thereabout of promises made by the APC when they were coming to power, in 2014. And like we always say, it's just like a wind down to this government. Whether this government will be able to achieve some of those promises in less than 12 months from today is something that I'm very, very doubt that was going to happen, because the government promises is security, the government promises welfare, the government promises education, employment, but all these have been a failed promises. But again, part of the conversation yesterday, well listened to from different part of the globe, and next week will be a continuation of that again for those that are listening to us from different part of the globe.
Okay, let me say good morning to Ismaila Ajadisubru. He says good morning, bro, and Yoruba Nation now, no going back. Thank you very much, Ismaila. Continue to share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones wherever you are listening to us from. But now, let's go to the stories making the round today. And topmost, the embezzlement of up to what? 13 billion naira. What is all that about?
Well, it is not always the first time that we've seen, magnitude of money stolen from Nigerian coffer. These are money that is meant to be used for different purposes, but sometimes this money end up to individuals or some government, corrupt politicians and civil servants. But the story that you've just talked about has got to do firstly with Jafaru Mohammed. I remember there was a particular stash of money that was found in a particular building in what we call Ikoyi Saga. We're talking about the tune of 13 billion naira, which is quite a lot of money by the time you convert it back to dollars or pounds sterling. But the question again now is, out of the 13 billion, it seems 10.9 billion was stolen again from the 13 billion that was stolen. And the EFCC on Tuesday presented details of 24 properties worth to the tune of 10.9 billion that was fortified to the federal government by the military officer. So I'm going to go a little bit. Brigadier General Jafaru Mohammed has been revealed as the top military officer fingered in the latest seizure of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) on Tuesday, that presented details of up to 24 properties worth 10.9 billion was fortified to the federal government by the military officer, including the late General Modu Aminu of KANU. What we do know is, though the commission did not give the name of the officer, but by the People Gazette has linked the fortified to Mr. Mohammed. Mr. Mohammed, currently the Director of the Finance and Administration in the Office of the National Security Advisor. So it seems we have all these top hierarchy officers that do know where money is, that do know where money is kept, and eventually this money disappeared as well. He was appointed as the EFCC in 2017 under Ibrahim Magu. Magu himself has been taken off the seat of the chairman of the EFCC for corruption allegation as well, to take charge of the finance of the National Intelligence Agency NIA after a 13 billion naira belonging to the spy agency was found nowhere than in Lagos apartment in southwest of Nigeria. The commissioner at the time taking the charge of bank account operated by the Nigerian Foreign Intelligence Services. So the whole conversation here is they recovered the loot of about 43.5 million US dollars, 27,000 pounds, 23.2 million naira was found hidden inside an apartment known as 7B Osborne Tower, Ikoyi, by the operatives of the EFCC. And it seems that money as well has now become the part of the conversation that we are having today. The Director General of the NIA, as at the time, Ayodele Oke, had admitted that the money belonged to his agency. Mr. Oke was later suspended from the office. They reported that the operatives of the commission under then Ibrahim Magu compelled the Director of Finance and Administration of the NIA to transfer the account to Mr. Muhammad, an army officer that was attached to the office of the National Security Advisor. So you could see that as much as Nigerians are on the street, begging diaspora, begging whoever for something to eat, but we have magnitude of money that just keep disappearing from the government coffer.
Interesting. Listeners, my question that I wanted to pose to Yomi was how effective is the EFCC? I mean, are they doing a good job? I mean, you can cut them some slack saying that, look, they've been able to maybe recover lots of the money from various people who have done this criminal acts. However, if it happens that in their own care, we have up to what 13 billion, and out of that 10 billion of it is going amiss, then we have some sort of somebody would say some problem there.
Well, it's not new that we are seeing these kind of corruption cases all the time. But the question is, you did ask, is whether the EFCC can do a very good job, which I believe they can, if they are given that opportunity to do so. But because of also interference that do come through from the hierarchy, from the top, and that also is some of the reason why cases of corruption has just been left as it is. But yes, EFCC has the power to deal and run after corruption cases. But if there's nobody up there trying to interfere with most of these cases.
Interesting. Well, we hope that the forfeitures, the state is going to benefit from it. Not that some people are going to, rob again. Okay, we have, Ismail saying that Nigeria is a 419. Okay, all right, 419. All right then. Listen, let's start ready, UK. Mr. Olayomi Koiki. Now let's go to NSAS. Now, after that, maybe the NSAS with everything and the international media saying that what happened wasn't the right thing, and that evidence that the military and the police were involved, killing people who have not been accounted for, and everything that has gone on, and we having the what do you call him? Is it liar saying that, well, it is not true. It is not true, everything that they've done or everything that they've said, because the Lagos State governor, the inquiry that was conducted, and everything, the recommendations that was brought. So we thought that maybe some closure has come in, but now we have some individuals being prosecuted once again. Now the DSS prosecuting what is his name? Okay, I will leave that one to the name. The name has eluded me, but he wasn't on the ground. But he was somewhere and he was sending messages or tweets or WhatsApp messages, and people were also, getting there to support the NSAS. So why are they taking him to court, prosecuting him?
Well, what we saw is, during the NSAS, a lot of Nigerians, were molested. A lot of Nigerians were kind of, tortured. And up to now, the question is, what could have, being the crime of those that were also demanding, the crime against them in the first place. So what we saw is, a lot of Nigerians, came out in 2020 protesting against, what we call, the special anti-robbery squad that have become a criminal of themselves. And one of them is currently being charged of, of a cocaine. I mean, we're talking about, a super cop himself that is now being charged, for, what we call, a kind of a criminal cartel of himself. We're talking about Abba Alhaji Kaira. He's a Nigerian police officer who is also the Deputy Commissioner of Police, currently on suspension. Not just on suspension now, he's also alleged, to be tampering with what we call about 25 kg of cocaine, with some of his cargoes as well. So when Nigerians came out, in this, around October, thereabout, protesting peacefully, the Nigerian government decided to go after them, from the Lagos state to southeast, and we saw, the killings that took place. Not just the killings, some were literally taken away to the prison, and the case that you're just discussing now is just one out of so many people that are still in the detention of the Nigerian security operatives, for crime that they've not committed. So this particular person was picked up and then he was locked away for a couple of days until his family decided, to find out what has gone wrong. Eventually now, we can confirm that, he's still currently under a case still in Nigeria, somewhere in Abuja. But the question is, how many of them are still in captivity in the security prisons in somewhere in Lagos State, in their numbers? And the question again is, do we really have unity in Nigeria? That is the question I did ask yesterday. Do we have progress in Nigeria? And do we still believe in the judicial system where your own rights have been tampered by this government since they came to power in the last 6 years?
That is a big question. If you're listening to us, do you think your rights have been tampered with? Or you think that maybe, like TD Jakes is saying about Ghana, everything is good? I mean, 7 years old, and then, oh, everything looks very nice and plush. Is that how you see Nigeria? Are you together? Well, Prince Adebanjo Israel Bemi says, good afternoon to you, Starr in the UK. Prince, I hope you are doing very, very well. Thank you very much for joining us. But now let's go to Yomi. Yesterday, the case of the IGBOHO leader took its course in the courts once again. What happened to it?
Well, remember there's a 15-count charge according to this government on NNAMDI KANU. But it was quite interesting that the lawyer was able to give us a better understanding of some of these charges and how these charges means nothing. I'm trying to get the audio of what the lawyer said yesterday so that we can have a better understanding of what actually took place in Abuja yesterday. It was quite interesting to know that the government is charging NNAMDI KANU, for doing a radio transmission from London, against the Nigerian government, abusing the Nigerian government. He was also charged for other crimes as well. But the lawyer and the legal team yesterday spoke to the journalists after, the case ended. I mean, not ended because the case has been adjourned again till April. But this is what, the lawyer had to say to the journalists yesterday.
Violent protests in the east and in Lagos, affecting Lagos transportation system. Does this court have jurisdiction territorially over Lagos and matters that happen near Uli, near Ihiala, in Anambra State? No. Does this court have jurisdiction over matters if there was an offense committed, for example, say in UK? Does this court have jurisdiction over matters that happen in UK? Answer, no. Because this court cannot exercise jurisdiction on matters within a sovereign land, another country that has sovereignty under international law. Another major point is that you are trying this man, saying for committing, for belonging to a proscribed organization. And I must now say this, contrary to what the prosecution said last time. NNAMDI KANU has never denied being a member of IGBOHO. He says, I am not a member of proscribed IGBOHO. I want all of you to know the difference. And when IPOB was proscribed through the court process, NNAMDI KANU challenged it. The matter is at the Court of Appeal currently. Nobody knows the judgment of the Court of Appeal. If the Court of Appeal finally says that this proscription was wrong, as we are contending, let's say by that time you had already tried NNAMDI and jailed him, how will you bring him back? So you are trying him under a law that is inchoate, that is being challenged, whose efficacy and longevity is being tested and has not been used. So we call it lite pendens, or the doctrine of sub judice. So you cannot. So NNAMDI KANU, in his extrajudicial statement, said he founded IPOB in 2012 in London, and that is the head. He has never denied being the founder, head.
So that is the senior advocate of Nigeria, Mike Ozekome, that was speaking to journalists after the hearing yesterday. Let me brief a little bit. First and foremost, NNAMDI KANU has been wearing the same outfit ever since he was picked up in June last year. The reason why the DSS has not allowed the outfit that was brought for NNAMDI KANU was because he had a lion face in front of it. So the DSS says we're not going to allow this kind of outfit to be given to NNAMDI KANU. The judge did say that probably maybe they should change the outfit, the one they'll be bringing, and NNAMDI KANU, according to the legal team, says nodded and said, well, that is okay. So we will expect him to have a different outfit. But it seems the DSS are not too pleased having this inscription of a lion face on his outfit, bringing to the court. So that is on that. Again, part of what the legal team asked was, the sovereignty of United Kingdom, is different from the sovereignty of Nigeria. So if NNAMDI KANU was transmitting from London, that should be something that the UK government should be dealing with, not the Nigerian government as well. But also, the government has still not been able to tell Nigerians how NNAMDI KANU left Kenya, because NNAMDI KANU was traveling on a British passport to Kenya. NNAMDI KANU was in Kenya, according to the Kenya authority, on the 12th of May, before it was picked up somewhere around June, on a shady way. But the Kenya authority, because already there's a legal going on in Kenya, have come out to say, we know that NNAMDI KANU arrived in Kenya, but we didn't know how he left Kenya. So that means the Nigerian government will have to tell Nigerians and the legal team of Kenya, NNAMDI KANU, how NNAMDI KANU left Kenya. If he was meant to have been picked up in Kenya, there could have been what they call an extradition treaty, which exactly would have taken him to the court in Kenya, and then people would have known. But for 8 days, his glasses was also taken off him. And when the legal team was also speaking, they said NNAMDI KANU never jumped bail, because in 2017, on the 14th, the military invaded his house. 24 innocent people were killed. NNAMDI KANU literally ran away for his life, just as Chief Sunday Igboho was doing the same thing until he was stopped in Benin Republic. In the next 24 hours, Chief Sunday Igboho himself will be spending 7 months in Benin Republic, because the Nigerian government doesn't seem to be happy with these two individuals at the present time in the history of Nigeria.
Interesting. Ajayi Gabriel says that Nigeria is 4-1. Ajayi, good morning to you. Thank you very much for joining us. But let's look first of all, look at the apparel that is it a family or the legal team brought for him to wear, with a lion in front of it. Now, what has the lion got to do with the IPOB or the Igbos? Has it got any relevance to them? For the sake of those who are listening to us who don't know much about it.
Sorry, can you repeat that again?
I was asking that the lion that you said.
Well, the lion seems to be part of the trademark of the Biafrans, and also something to do with their own tradition. But the DSS doesn't seem to be happy, with that kind of outfit, and that was what the legal team says. They were shocked because they didn't give them any reason apart from that conversation that happened at Abuja High Court yesterday. So they were rejecting this outfit without giving them the reason why they were rejecting it. But this time around, a plain one will be given to NNAMDI KANU, and we hope that will be allowed, for him to have a new outfit on the 8th of April, when the court case will be coming back on again.
think I'm going to advise the legal team. They should just write, they should do some embroidery there, a nice embroidery. I am roaring like a lion, a small one in the white apparel that will bring him before he goes to the court. Now, I remember back in, I think sometime in 2021, the latter part of 2021, some leaders of the Igbo went to see the president for NNAMDI KANU to be pardoned so that the Southeast will see a bit of peace there. What is happening to that as well?
Well, remember what Buhari told them? He's currently somewhere in Belgium, and I saw him, with the president of Guinea-Bissau. What he said was he will allow the judge, the court proceeding to go ahead, which he cannot interfere into it as well. But the question is that, for how long, because all what NNAMDI KANU is asking for is nothing more than a referendum to decide whether, the Biafrans or those from the Southeast still want to be part of Nigeria, and that is something that, is still, is demand. As much as the government, doesn't want to approach it in that direction because they believe that, NNAMDI KANU was using his radio presentation to create havoc, causing transportation system in Lagos and somewhere in Anambra State. And again, the legal team was saying that if that was the case, this court doesn't even have the jurisdiction in the first place to look into that court case as well. So we see how it's going. It seems the government is literally running away from its court itself, because this case should have just been, done under a week or 2 weeks and decide whether NNAMDI KANU is guilty or not. But for the fact that, he had a case prior to this until he had to run away for his life, and that is still something that the government has not really talked about. But again, we will continue to review that. But his next court case will come up on the 8th of April in the next couple of months again.
The final one before we move on from NNAMDI KANU. How resilient are his legal representatives? How resilient are they? Are they very good?
Well, after looking at the hearings yesterday, you could see that he has put up an extra person, which is the senior advocate of Nigeria, Mike Okezeme, that is also very powerful. He's a very powerful, outspoken, senior advocate of Nigeria that has been added to the team. We've seen also, one of their legal team that has been flying in from America as well. So he has a very strong, legal team around him. And you could tell that they're doing everything, to tell the government, stop running away from your court. Let us deal with this court case as quickly as possible, so that NNAMDI KANU can get his freedom back as well.
Okay, listeners, it is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, 11:26 the time, and Thursday edition of the morning show with Ms. Olayomi Koiki in North London studios, and I'm Archie here, and we are looking at updates from Nigeria. I'm going to hand over to Ms. Olayomi Koiki to bring us the rest of the stories making the rounds in Nigeria. Over to you, York.
A lot of Nigerians would like to know why, this individual known as Abba Kyari, with a 25 kg cocaine at almost $61,000, have not been paraded so far. If this was somebody else, I'm sure it would have been paraded as quickly as possible. So a lot of Nigerians are still wondering why the NDLEA have not been able to parade him, after he has been picked up, for this crime. An Abuja-based human rights lawyer, Pelumi Olajengbese, has urged the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency to parade the narcotic suspect, Abba Kyari, with a 25 kg cocaine, $61,000, and other exhibits recovered from the Deputy Commissioner of Police. Why are they running away from presenting him to the Nigerians and the international community? Remember, he still needs to answer his extradition treaty to take him to America, where the FBI would like to question him as well. Olajengbese stated this in his post on Thursday, noting that the security agent should embarrass Abba Kyari by parading him before the media, as they do to other suspects. In this Abba Kyari case, the Nigerian security agencies are yet to demonstrate equal lawlessness. They carried out investigating and embarrassing citizens by interviewing them on cameras, taking their pictures, holding boards with incriminating inscription, and parading them with their criminal items in the press conference like they do to common criminals. We need the NDLA to bring Abba Kyari to answer questions. TV display of the 25 kg cocaine. Let us not be hopeless in this country, the lawyer have said. So I'm going to take us now through to some of the other headlines. It's coming up to 28 minutes past 11. It's still Starr Radio UK, the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. We've been talking about the criminal element, not just in the southeast, but also in the southwest. But yesterday, a very good job from the Ondo chapter of the Amotekun that intercepted a truck loaded with over 60 Northerners motorcycles registered with Yoruba name. That is quite something that we should be very, very concerned. We're talking about people that were caught up in a names that is not belonging to them. Imagine if I'm bearing a name like sounding the Igbo name, that would probably should raise a kind of a suspicion and concern. And just as it's done all over the globe, even here in UK, a small alphabet change in your name will automatically becomes an ally or something else, according to this government. If I'm bearing Olayomi and I have to add some kind of a different character to the name or alphabet rather, that means it's changing entirely. The truck, which was intercepted at Iju in Akure North local government area of the state, was also loaded with rams and motorcycles, of which were registered in Yoruba names. The Ondo State Security Network Agency, known as Amotekun, did that yesterday. So again, we would like to see the outcome of that. The men were subsequently taken to the headquarters of Amotekun in Akure, the state capital, for more profiling. According to the commander of the Amotekun Corps in the state, Adetunji Adeleye, his officers discovered that apart from about 240 rams that were in the truck, it also contained 63 persons, 10 motorcycles registered with Yoruba names, and 15 unregistered ones. So we'll see what the outcome will be. Again, as we continue to say, the lack of security has created more problem in Nigeria today, and also more Nigerians are becoming more concerned, with the security that is not there to prevent, them from moving from point A to B. So let's touch on more other headlines, and then I'm going to come back again to you in the studio. As we do know, the election is getting closer, and the countdown on Starr Radio UK this morning, continue to be something that we focus on as well. 358 days, 12 hours, 28 minutes, 37 seconds is when the next general election is meant to take place. But there's a lot of questions on the table. Is this election going to hold at all, with more agitation, more self-determination, both from the southwest, the southeast, and the middle belt, and some from the northern part of the country as well? But that is not stopping the campaign of the politicians, as some of them have started doing what they know best. I saw one of the senators known as Yayi, and the question again is, where do they get all this amount of money? It's time now for the distribution of different kind of materials, to people within the locality, or sometimes to the state government as well. As I've seen that, Senator Yayi, representing Alimosho local government, have started distributing motorcycle, ground pepper, generator, and also some vehicles as well. That shows that this country, will continue to experience these bad politicians that tend to use election to who average Nigerians, for their vote as well. This headline says 2023 presidency, zoning in PDP constitution since 2011, says Baraji. There is a cover in the constitution which says that zoning should be respected for the purpose of giving a sense of belonging to all the members. A former chairman and the national secretary of the People's Democratic Party, Abubakar Kawa Baraji, says the party constitution allows zoning of political office. It's stated in the constitution, black and white. It was reviewed in the constitution sometime around 2011, although before then it was an oral tradition of the PDP, and it was even as good as been written. I met it like that when I took over as a party national secretary in 2008, Mr. Baraji explained. He added that even when it was an oral, the tradition of the party, it was highly respected. It was formally included in the constitution in 2011 when we were reviewing the party constitution before I left. So we see what is going to happen, whether there will be zoning of the election to the southwest, the southeast, or back to the northern part of the country as well. I'm going to take 2 more, come back to you in the studio. Remember, if you're sending money home to your loved ones, SendWaves is the best way to send money to your loved one back in Nigeria. Let's touch more on 1 or 2 headlines before coming back again to you in the studio. It seems not to be going very well in Nigeria presently, as stations are now running out of petrol. The scarcity is paralyzing most of the state. I saw a video coming out from Abuja yesterday, and that individual behind the commentary of the video says, in a very long time, will this petrol station not have a petrol? But it seems things is falling apart as we speak right now. Stations run out of petrol, scarcity, paralyzed state, and we'll continue to monitor that as well. Remember the Ikoyi building, where a 21-story building collapsed and multiple people died as well. Ikoyi building collapsed. Lagos now to demolish the remaining skyscraper and also prosecute the culpable officials. It's again part of the corruption system that have become known in Nigeria and is having a big effect as well. This event took place, according to the information, the Lagos state government has accepted 26 recommendations of Tony Ayinde-led panel that investigated the collapse of the 24-story building in Ikoyi area of the state. The governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu administration also rejected 2 of the 28 recommendations of the panel. In a white paper, the state government agreed with the recommendation of the panel that the existing 2 15-story buildings still standing at the site of the collapse on Gerrard Road in Ikoyi should now be demolished. According to what we know, this building collapsed around November 1st last year, 2021, but we still have 2 more of it, which are about 15-story, still standing beside the collapsed high-rise, but it seems now those 2 high-rise buildings will be taken down. The question then again is, who is going to be prosecuted? Who is going to be held responsible for those that have died because lives were lost at that 24 skyscraper that was owned by Fourscore Height Limited? People were trapped to the people of almost 50 persons, including the firm's managing director, Femi Osibono. His friend that was heading to America had a stopover at that building, but he never made it out at that building as well. A United States of American-based Nigerian businessman, Wale Bode Oseni, his personal assistant, Onyinye Iwekwe, and some clients as well. About 44 persons were said to have died as a result of that incident. I'll take 1 more, come back again to you in the studio. It is still Starr Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. As we do say, while other criminals, non-criminals are quickly brought into, the court appearance, the media appearance, Abba Kyari may spend more days in detention as the NDLEA approaches the court. What do we know? Again, according to the embattled Deputy Commissioner of Police, Abba Kyari, and all 4 others may spend more time in the custody of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, also known as the NDLEA, has now approached the Federal High Court in Abuja, informing the court of his intention to detain the suspect beyond the stipulated 48 hours. The NDLEA has already begun a forensic analysis of the cocaine that was seized by this individual. A top source at the agency, who wished to remain anonymous, said because he was not authorized to speak with the press, says the cop had made some revelations which will lead to more investigation. It seems more people would also have to be picked up. As we know, this individual was moving around with different socialites and different elite of people, dancing, going to parties. He was still at the wedding of the Inspector General of Police just some few weeks ago, before we now know he's involved in what we call a drug cartel from Brazil to Ethiopia back to Nigeria. This is Starr Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Yeah, Abakari in trouble. Abakari in trouble. But let me acknowledge Prince Adebanjo Israel. It says Nigeria is dead completely. How can a government of a country cover up criminals? Well, we'll see what the government will do about that. Okay, I think we have some feedback from the young place. Okay, don't you worry, listeners, Starr Radio UK. Now, a quick one. The fuel shortage in Nigeria. I'm looking at the issue of the adulterated petrol that was brought in the country that the government was saying that it's going to see to compensate people for that. Is it what has caused or brought about the shortage of petrol in our fuel in Nigeria? Is it?
Well, you're quite right. That has been part of the reason why we've seen this multiple shortage, because almost about 170 million liters of adulterated petrol came into the country. The government was going to spend about 102 billion naira thereabout, or to also rectify the problem. But what you got to understand is already the country do not have a full functioning refineries. As much as this government promises, when they were coming in, part of their promises that they would have refinery, but probably they are still waiting for the Dangote refinery. So that has created the problem. But also remember that in February this month, the government was meant to to scrap the suspend the subsidy, and that would have pushed the price of the petrol up. Could this be also a kind of a tactic to say that we have adulterated petrol in the country? Because currently now Nigerians are already paying extra more to what they were paying some few weeks ago on the price of the crude oil, or the petrol rather, that they are using. You will wonder why a country that is the 6th largest crude oil doesn't have a full functioning refinery, but we have to wait from those countries like Belgium, that is not even to the population of Lagos State, to help us refine some of this crude oil before it's brought back into the country. Yes, the adulterated petrol has created part of this problem, but there's always been problem in the NNPC. Is also one of the most corrupt part of the government system that needs to be scrapped, so that we can see or proper what we call a transparency, a clean auditing of that particular sector of the government, which a lot of Nigerians want to know more about the NNPC.
Well, I hope that the EFCC will be investigating the corruption that goes on in the NNPC. But well, I'm going to tell you that this is done in a cavalier manner, therefore it's difficult for government to do so. But listeners in Starr Radio UK, it is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. If you are listening to us, let's ask you one question. If you are from the east, or you are from the west of Nigeria, or from the north, do you think that maybe giving a referendum to those in the southwest and those in the southeast, let them decide their own future, let them decide whether they want to be part of Nigeria or they want out of Nigeria, will solve all the problems, bring about the peace in the country? Do you think that will happen? I want to hear from you. But let's go to Yomi for some of the stories making the rounds in the social media platform. Over to you, Yomi.
41 minutes past 11, and yes, we do have a couple of them ready for us. Let's go straight to it. Yusuf, FS_Yusuf, and EFCC will parade young Nigerians with placards carrying their names boldly written on allegations of internet fraud. Is refusing to mention the name of a fraudulent military officer whose 10.9 billion naira worth properties were seized. What sort of double standard is this, with 3 question marks? Shege Link, very well known in Nigeria. 80% of Nigerians, if not more, have no iota of trust in the criminal justice system in Nigeria. Also, the Sun at the Real King. Okay, we lost that. Let's see if we can get another one in as we continue to monitor some of the trending news from Nigeria as well. Okay, this one says, after shading, this one is coming from at Real Nikki Agoms. After shading Tinubu, Abi, where was Femi Gbajabiamila? Femi Gbajabiamila, yesterday there was a headline that came out that the Speaker of the House of Rep, Gbajabiamila, has launched a probe to Raufu Aregbesola, who is the current minister for looking after the prison custody and so much and so thereabout, for over a probe of about 165 billion naira prison fund. But it seems things are falling apart among the party where Aregbesola is also a member of the APC. But we saw him campaigning in Osun State in the last 72 hours when he was speaking against the national leader of the party, by even putting it there that he has been peeing on his body on cameras that we saw when he was in Ijebu-Ode, somewhere about when he visited one of the royal father. Also, he was saying so many other things, but it seems just after his presentation in Osun State, the speaker have now decided to launch what we call a probe of Aregbesola over 165 billion prison funds. So this individual is now asking, where was Femi Gbajabiamila all this time? Or can he tell Nigerians that he is not aware of the stolen prison fund before Raufu Aregbesola attacked Tinubu? Last, a cruise country remains a cruise country. So you can see that a lot of Nigerians have been following what is happening. Also, this headline says, Ghana accused Arise Nigerians of tax evasion and floating the rules. So that is about it. I'm going to come back again to you in the studio where we will continue to say Star Radio UK, the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Well, listeners, keep your comments coming through if you have any pertaining to government, the federal government granting the Southeast or the Southwest the chance to go to the polls to find out what they think a referendum means. What do you think about all that? We want to hear from you. If you're not even able to decide, or you are still thinking it through, don't you worry. Tomorrow we'll be on once again, God willing, and then we will be having a take. But think about it. You think that will appease everybody? Maybe a referendum for the whole country. What about that? How would that be once again? Let me ask you, if there is a referendum for the whole of Nigeria to decide whether the Southeast or the Southwest should be, do you think that will find out well?
Well, I believe a lot of people now understand what Nigeria is all about. A lot of people now understand based on the education that has been going on, on the social media and off the social media. In the past, we were believing that Mungo Park founded River Niger because that was what we were told. Only for us now to realize that Mungo Park never founded River Niger because River Niger has been there before Mungo Park father was born. And now that we've been able to understand all this, people now understand that the reason why you don't have good system that is working is part of the fraudulent military decree 1999 constitution. So if we throw out a referendum today, I'm definitely sure more Nigerians will vote to the option of having a very peaceful division of the country, just as done here in the United Kingdom in 2016, when the Brits says they've had enough of being part of the European Union and they just wanted to have their own authority back here in UK rather than in Brussels.
Well, listeners, we want to say thank you very much, and I think Yomi, let me say thank you very much for that wonderful contribution to the program and bringing us that update. It's been wonderful. Thank you. Before you go,
stay tuned because Archie still have the rest of the program at 12 p.m. You'll also be able to contribute by calling into the program. But for now, I'll be back again same time tomorrow to Star Radio UK, the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Bye. Yes, listeners, that was Mr. Olayomi Koiki bringing you updates from Nigeria. It is Star Radio UK, 11:46 the time. That's 40 minutes to the top of the hour. Let's take a musical break and some commercials, and then we. Break and some commercials, and then we will continue with the news that is making the rounds from home here and other parts of the world as well. So stay tuned, don't you go away.
Welcome to Gabby Dave Global. We are a UK-based online e-commerce store, the first of its kind with license to trade in African products. Some of the products are clothing brands and all beauty accessories, hair and beauty brands,